Welcome to Wise Woo Wealthy, where business meets wisdom, intuition, and limitless potential. This is a space for entrepreneurs ready to elevate their impact, align with their purpose, and create wealth on their terms. Tune in for the inspiration, strategy, and soulful insights you need to build a brand and a life that's wildly fulfilling. I'm your host, Maria Von Loesch, the Birkin of Branding. Now let's get this party started. Whether it's creating content, creating new offers, creating systems on your back end, those automations you've been dying to set up, whether it's any of that stuff, you still have time to get all of this done, or maybe one of the things done by the end of the year before the new year rolls around. And this is why I really want to talk about focused energy. I was on a call with a client earlier. I was sharing how I'm in a season of spring for my business right now. But this time of the year, it's November, which is fall going into winter. And we all have seasons in our business. But the reason why it's spring for me, it's blossoming, it's because I have been planting the seeds, watering the soil, and doing all of that for the past 3 to 4 months. And now things are blossoming. And so it's spring season for me. So as I was sharing with my client about how it's spring season for me, it's because I really had that focus energy. I was really intentional about my time, what I was going to be doing, and I didn't put so much on my plate. And that's why I feel like this topic is really important and such a good reminder for us as entrepreneurs, as business owners. When you're intentional, you avoid burnout and you stay aligned with your bigger goals. So that's one thing. Speaking from my own personal experience, because I'm a manifesting generator, so I like to do all the things and have my hands in everything. Focused energy really is a practice that I need to be super intentional about. The second thing about having focused energy, it helps you have meaningful progress instead of staying busy. You know those days where you're like doing a lot of things and you feel like, "Oh yeah, I've got all these things and I'm busy." But then at the end of the day, you feel like, did I really do much? I feel like I was busy all day, but I didn't really accomplish anything. So we want to avoid that. We want to be productive. And when you have focused energy, that helps you see the progress in that one specific or two specific or three specific things that you set intention on, that I am going to get these things done. So how do we put focused energy practice into play? There are a few things that I suggest. And one of the things is getting clear on your priorities. We need some clarity behind this. Like, what are we going to focus on? Some of the questions that I like to think about to get some clarity in my priorities is, where do I want to be from this time to next year? But not just that, how do I want to feel this time next year? See how that feels inside your body? How do I want to feel after the new year hits? Or how do I want to feel at the end of January when that rolls around? You can put a different time limit, just depends on where you are and when you're listening to this podcast, really. Okay, so the next question that I like to reflect upon to help me in getting clear with my priorities is, what has been on my long list of to-dos that I can actually do right now or for the next month, and tick it off that list. Like, what's the one thing that I can do to move the needle in my brand and my business? Whether it's content strategy or creating content or recording podcast episodes or filming video or pins. Oh my gosh, that's a big one, by the way. I've been talking about Pinterest for so long. And that is one thing that I know will move the needle in some of my marketing is to have a Pinterest content strategy in place and to actually start doing it. So those are just some examples. So when you get a little bit clearer after you reflect on some of these questions and you start really thinking about it, and I propose you write them down wherever you take notes in a journal or in a notes app or wherever, or a Google document. Break these up into categories, break them up into, I suggest only doing three. So taking three priorities. There's something magical about the number three when you're doing this. And I don't know what it is, but it just works. And it's worked in my coaching world with my clients. When I've worked with coaches for myself, the number three always seems to be easy and it moves the needle. So break your priorities up into three categories, whether it be, content creation or creating new offers or setting up your back end and getting your systems in place, whatever that looks like to you. Break it up into three categories so that way you are really clear on where you want to put your focused energy. So let's talk about time. Let's talk about how to get really intentional with your time so that way the energy is really intentional and really focused on the priorities. Remember, we just made that list of what you want to knock out from now until the time that decided that you wanted, whether it's the new year or 6 months from now or this time next year. I suggest working backwards. That is the best way to look at it. For example, if you wanted to say, create your content strategy from now until the end of the year and have that be a big priority because you feel like that's going to move the needle in your brand, then create a schedule from now until the end of the year. And let's really look at this on a calendar, like pull up a calendar, look at your weeks, and put in all the personal stuff because it's during the holidays and you might be traveling or you have family things or you have events. There's probably a few personal things that you're going to be obligated to be doing. So make sure that those are in your calendar. Make sure all your appointments are in there. Make sure everything that you already know is in your calendar. Now look at the open spaces. Where do you see realistically you can carve out 1 hour or 2 hours in, specific days to get your content done? Whether it's creating a strategy, whether it's actually creating the pieces of content, whatever you decide in your brand, in your business, that's going to help you move the needle and feel better when the new year rolls around. Okay, so let's do another example. Say that you're thinking about 6 months from now and you really want to take these top three priorities. So, say, for example, it's content strategy and creation, and it's a couple of new offers, and it's setting up your backend system. Say those are the priorities. I'm sure not everybody has these, but just use them as examples. So, we've got three biggies, right? If you're looking at 6 months from now, then I suggest working backwards again and looking at the full picture. So open up your calendar, make sure as many appointments are in there, as many personal items are in there. Have them all booked out. Trips, doctor's appointments, kids' events, whatever you have in your world, make sure most of them are in there. And then let's look at where you have open space to focus on these top three priorities. And I would suggest, taking the one that you really want to do first. Say it's your back end. Say, like, I can't even think about content creation or the strategy of marketing my business until I have that back end like tight. I need that back end system tight. I need it, running on autopilot. So maybe that's the first thing. So look at the, next couple of months and put that as your first priority. And then maybe the second thing is, you have a few offers that you really want to get out there, but you want to make sure that they are tight as well and they make sense. So you'll want to look at where you have space in your calendar to focus on that. And that will be after you complete the back end priorities. And then the last thing is all about your content strategy and marketing and creation and all of that stuff. So just look at your calendar and then reverse engineer. Always go from where you want to be at that point and then work backwards. I find that that is the easiest. And then take the priority that is the biggest on your list. Usually at the last quarter of the year, business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, we all tend to really think about the new year. We get ahead of the game. We're thinking about that. And we're like, okay, what do I need to do to, set myself up for success after the new year rolls around? So that's why I'm doing this episode. So that way you can really get intentional about your time and your energy and get laser focused. That way you end the year with a bang and then you start the new year off already. No more waiting for the new year to roll around where you decide, okay, now it's the new year. Let me start planning. Let me start looking at everything. You don't have to do that. And I actually suggest not doing that because a lot of the times you start to feel behind. So the end of the year is actually a perfect time. And I know that the holidays are here. And if you're like me, I love spending the holidays with my family and doing fun events and going out and doing all these festive things. But believe it or not, you actually have some white space in your calendar to be focused on at least one priority to end the year feeling good about crossing one of those things off your to-do list. Again, I can easily spread myself too thin by doing too many things, and then nothing happens. And then I'm thinking, I spent all this time doing all these things, and where's the clients? Where's the money? Where's the this? Where's the that? Nothing transpired. And when I am hyper focused, then that's when I see everything come to life. So, with that said, thanks again for listening. And if you resonate with anything in this podcast, please share it with a fellow entrepreneur or business owner and follow, subscribe. What else? Leave a comment. Send me a DM on the gram at Maria Von Loesch. And until next time, keep it wise, woo, and wealthy.